Hey y'all, I'm Jackie. So this is technically, I guess you could call it sermon 2 because we are going to go a little scripture that explains why I'm doing this particular lifestyle. Um, I live in the middle of the woods, in case you don't already know my story, and my kids and I have been restoring an abandoned homestead. We don't want to just bring the house back to life. We want to bring the entire homestead back to life, and that's what we're doing, and this is partial documentation of that journey. So I want us to flip actually to the beginning of the Bible, to Genesis, and I think we know the beginning. It says, "In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." Now, I want us to actually scoot along. I know a lot of you have read the book of Genesis, but I want to scoot along to what really I feel is a very important scripture. And that's Genesis 1:12. And it says, "And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day." So on the third day, God made plants and seeds. And the beautiful thing about this is it's a magical part of the circle of life. So regardless of whether you believe the Old Testament or not, it's common sense to know that the plants that we have on this planet are feeding us. And without question, we have begun some pretty horrific agricultural practices. We're poisoning our rivers with pesticides and herbicides and things like that. So what we're doing here, I feel, is really important because we're going back in time, not just to preserve history. We absolutely are able to do that, but to also preserve our future. That's the point. Because these old ways, when you put modern technology, and I'm not talking about more modern farming practice, unless you're going permaculture, that's a cool way to be, but not modern chemicals. I'm talking modern knowledge. We have so much more that we know now about growing your own small ecosystem that can feed you and that will actually help you a great deal. And you can be self-sufficient literally for free, believe it or not. I mean, you're going to have to find land and buy it. But one thing I want to challenge you to do, I know there are a lot of us out there right now. A lot of people are losing jobs. We can't find, I know in this region, good employment. It's extremely difficult. It doesn't matter how educated you are. I literally have multiple friends with bachelor's degrees, some of them very very technical and specific bachelor's degrees. These are highly educated people that are having difficulty finding employment at fast food restaurants. You see, this is actually one of the most poverty-stricken regions in the country. I'm talking about northern Louisiana, and this is where I need your help. There are a lot of people in this country that just kind of want to start over, and I know there's a lot of people that have thought, hey, I'd really like to turn to homesteading. I'd like to give that a shot and do my part to save this planet. I challenge you. I'm doing it right here as a single mother in northern Louisiana, in the redneck Riviera. And I am a redneck. I really am. I'm a very educated redneck. I'm a disabled veteran redneck. Nonetheless, I'm a redneck, and do not forget that. But that is a very, very good thing. I think that we have some serious misconceptions about rednecks. In the first place, when you drive by out in the middle of the North Louisiana woods, and you drive by somebody's homestead, and they got their little garden going, and they've got all of these old cars just piled up, what you don't understand is it may just look like, oh, that's a redneck with a bunch of cars piled up, but we have a deep appreciation for America's automotive history. So what you may see as just a marker to say somebody's trashy is actually a 42 Packard convertible, or a 34 Ford, or a 67 RSSS Camaro. And these people know how to work on it. I know because I'm from here. I grew up here. I'm the direct descendant of early settlers, Scotch-Irish, that moved to this region because they were farmers and they could instantly recognize that this is some of the richest farmland in the world. And they moved here And a lot of them married in with the few Native Americans that were left. And that's exactly what I am. I know I don't look it, but I'm Cherokee. In fact, there's still one missing line where I know that there was an Indian in there somewhere. It's family legend. There was a Native American there. So I'm at least, when you add it together, at least 1/16. And really it looks like I'm a little bit more than that, which I think is really cool because I was passed along both old school European ways and old school Native American ways. Now, I'm not good at either one of them yet when it comes to growing, but it has given me the determination to know that I, even a woman, can get on YouTube and research how to use tools and research until I can restore my own house myself. You just have to do it one project at a time, learn one tool at a time. And I'm telling you, if I can do it, anybody can do it. God didn't give us this planet for us to do with as we pleased. We were told in the book of Genesis that we are to be the caretakers of this earth. God was not playing. That was not a joke. And you know, I think the thing that's sad is there are so many people in this world that are turning their eyes the other way. But the truth of the matter is that when you disobey God himself and stop caring for the earth, stop checking on the ecosystems, destroy approximately 70% of the ecosystems on the planet, cut down approximately 80% of the old growth trees in the world. They're saying now that by 2020 we will not have any rainforests left. Back it way up, y'all. You need to get on the internet. You need to zoom out and look at some of these pictures they're taking of our earth. We're killing her. We are killing off species at approximately 1,000 times what the rate should be. Killing off species. We, the caretakers of the earth, are killing species that God created. That ain't cool. That is not okay. We have some redemption to do in this world. We don't have a choice. We have to save our planet. I'm not saying, hey, y'all, I think it'd be a real good idea. Maybe we could save our little planet. No, that ain't what I'm saying. I'm telling you, we save this planet or we die. The bees have been placed on the endangered species list. Now let me explain to some people what that means. That means we have to save the bees. It doesn't mean we should sit around talking about it. That means you get your ass on the telephone and you call local beekeepers right now. You can keep bees in the city. You can keep bees in the country. The ones that we're about to get, it's costing us $200 for the entire setup. And I'm talking that's with them building the bee boxes, with them bringing them, with them delivering them, putting them in place with the bees in it. $200. Now, you're still going to have to get some other things. You're going to have to get bee protective suits. I know it's kind of silly, but I really want to be a bee charmer, and I think I can do it. I've actually gotten to where a friend's hive, I've walked up to the hive without anything on. Now, I'm sure that I might live to regret that decision, or I might not live to regret that decision. There's no telling. That could really go either way. But I think it's important for you to understand. I'm going to say it one more time. The bees are on the endangered species list. It is your responsibility right now as a caretaker of the earth to get bees and to find out what is killing them and to go after the things that are killing them. We have got to plant bee-friendly plants right now. Even if you can't be a beekeeper, you can be a bee feeder. Feed our hungry bees, okay? Our ecosystems, think about it. Y'all got to help them because if they go, we go. So I challenge you to read the book of Genesis. I do. I also challenge you just to go onto Google or any website that you really wish and say, hey, can I have some environmental statistics? And just take a look around. Then I ask you to do something very important. Ask you to get down on your knees. Get out in nature to do it, in God's creation. And you look up and you say, Creator, please help me. Because God gave you a purpose. If you are having deja vu, you're on the right track. If you're not, you're not. If you're filled with anxiety, you've gotten off track. You're not fulfilling your purpose. Go find God in the woods. Go find God in an open field. Go find God in a garden. Get down on your knees and just look up. Even if you don't believe in God, say, God, I don't even believe in you, but just in case you're real. That's where I started. It was right there. I started saying that. It's like, I don't even know if I can believe in you. Because how could you, God, let all of these horrible things happen in this world if you were real? How could you just sit back? I'm going to tell you right now, I've been out here restoring His homestead for years now with my children, and I know for a fact that God exists. And I know for a fact that God's not just sitting back idly watching all this happen. And I know for a fact that we have got to save those bees right now, not later. Number one, priority. We've got to get our water right, and we got to get our bees right. Like, and I'm not talking, oh, we need to work on this for the next couple years. I'm talking do it this month. We have to get the bees taken care of before we can even move to the next project. So, listen to me. Bees. 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 This is our ABCs. Bees. Get down on your knees. Pray for the bees. Pray that God, your creator, help you find your specific purpose. And let's save this planet. Because all of us are brothers and sisters beneath this thin blue line above us. And with all of our telescopes and with all of our space rocket ships, we can't find any other life out there. We can't find it. But yet we won't stop what we're doing and look around and go, oh, so I want y'all to make the greatest discovery mankind has ever made and realize that there is actually life on this planet. We don't need to worry about Mars at this point. We need to be worrying about our own extinction. We need to be worrying about the fact that we have caused countless, we'll never even know how many species we caused to go extinct. In our greed, we must stop. We must love our brothers and sisters regardless of color of their skin or their sex or their sexual orientation. We must love everyone. It doesn't matter what religion we have, we were all created. We can argue over the specifics of what the name of the creator was later. Right now, this is the survival of the fittest. This is no joke. Darwin wrote very clearly about natural selection in the natural world and the effect that it has upon species. It's called evolution. But he didn't study unnatural selection in the unnatural world and the effect that has upon species. And that's called de-evolution. Devolution. And I'm going to tell you right now that whether you like it or not, we are evolving, and we are evolving disorders because our senses are not being satiated by the complex patterns of nature. You see, we can go to Mars if we wish, but it's just a matter of time before autism and dyslexia and Tourette's and countless other disabilities continue to get worse and worse and worse and worse. I personally think it's out of the Bible. You know that whole story about the Tower of Babel? Basically, they built a city. They plowed over nature, and they start building this huge tower. What are we doing to this day? God already told us not to do that. And all of a sudden, God made it so that they could not communicate with one another. I ask you this question. What if their lack of ability to communicate with one another was not a sudden instance of them speaking, some of them speaking French, some of them speaking Spanish? We're not talking, I don't think, about language. I think it's actually talking about God giving disabilities. Because when you have people that think completely different from one another, when you have people with tics, that sure makes it hard to talk. I believe we're being plagued. And whether you see it as Mother Nature attacking the most invasive species on the planet, or whether you see it as God reaching down and saving His own creation from the ones who are supposed to be the caretakers, it's insignificant to me. You believe what you want to. I know it's God, but you believe what you want to. But regardless of beliefs, this planet has got to be saved. It is my priority to save God's creation. I do believe that that's one of my purposes. I think my purpose is to tell you to achieve your purpose. That's it. My purpose is to say that you have a purpose. My purpose is just simply to show you that if I, a single mother and disabled veteran with a bad back who makes very little money, can do what I am doing and turn this historic house, which, by the way, if you get one that could be a National Register property, a lot of the new modern codes, they don't apply to you because you have a historic property. You have to keep it historic. If you're in the rural deep south, a lot of the people that live in the backwoods, they're allowed to kind of build what they want. There are some codes, but honestly, there's not a whole lot. Now in town, that's a different story. But I challenge you to become a caretaker of the earth. I challenge you to do your part to save our bees. I challenge you to get down on your knees and pray to your Creator. I challenge you to pray for peace. I challenge you to pray that our species find love in our hearts for one another. And I challenge you to pray for not just our children, but for all species on this planet that is God's creation. Mwah! Whether you believe it or not, I love you. You're my brother or my sister in humanity. And that's pretty dang cool. Peace out, y'all. See you next time.